In a world where humans and aliens coexist, John, a lonely man, finds solace when he meets Aria, an alien with a thirst for understanding. As their friendship deepens, emotional barriers blur, challenging societal norms. Will their love bridge galaxies or unleash chaos? In a realm of divergent worlds, can love truly reconcile conflicting ethics? If you dream of entering universes or planets where humans shine when they meet unknown races, subscribe, turn on notifications, and you will be happy every day with new wonderful sci-fi stories. Well, let's go. On a sultry afternoon in the suburban landscape of New Earth, John Hawthorne, a 47-year-old man cloaked in solitude, peered out a window, entranced by the luminous alien ships that traversed the cerulean sky. He had once been a vibrant member of society, a spirited engineer celebrated for his revolutionary designs in energy transfer. But the shadows of loneliness had creeped over him since his recent separation, rendering his heart heavy, weighted by a mix of loss and longing for human connection. The city outside thrummed with life. Children laughed as they chased each other through the park, families gathered in warm embrace, and the distant hum of conversations filled the air like a comforting song. Yet, within the four walls of his home, John felt isolated, adrift in an ocean of unfamiliar emotions. The doorbell chimed violently against the backdrop of his musings, jolting him from his trance. John's heart raced, anticipation fluttering in his chest, accompanied by an undercurrent of trepidation. Who could be visiting him in this tumultuous time? Standing at the threshold was Aria, an alien with skin as vibrant as the evening sky, her tall frame adorned with shimmering patterns that pulsed gently like living constellations. Her deep blue eyes twinkled with curiosity and intelligence, framed by cascading silver hair that seemed to float around her as if caught in a soft breeze. "Hello, I am here to assist you. My name is Aria," she said, her voice a harmonious blend of chimes and melodies, soothing yet invigorating. Hi, I'm John. Welcome," he stammered, overwhelmed by her presence. She stepped inside with an elegance that belied her origins, her every movement marked by an ethereal grace. The way she explored his living space, touching the framed photographs with wonder, running her fingers across the contours of human inventions, captivated him. Each touch seemed to spark a fascination deeper than he had felt in years. But beneath his fascination lay an undercurrent of anxiety. Could a friendship with an alien truly bridge the vast emotional chasms of his heart? Aria quickly became a fixture in his life, bringing with her insights and a curiosity that illuminated the drab corners of his everyday existence. She often observed the world through a prism of wonder, her love for learning about human culture effervescent. This innate curiosity drew John in, igniting a flicker of connection within him he thought extinguished. She would ask him intricate questions about Earth, humanity, and emotions, the very fabric of life he had almost forgotten to appreciate. "Why do you humans paint vivid colors on canvases?" she once asked, her voice laced with genuine intrigue as they stood in front of a painting of a sunset at the beach that John had hung above his workspace. "Is it not simpler to let your eyes enjoy the scene as it is?" "It's about capturing a feeling," John replied slowly, trying to encapsulate the essence of human expression. "Art is a conduit for emotions we can't easily explain. We create to communicate thoughts and experiences that go beyond words." Her brow furrowed slightly, still processing his words. "But what if your emotions could be conveyed without creating? Then I suppose our connection would evolve, but the desire to create would remain." Her questions opened doors John hadn't thought about, peeling back layers of his own understanding. The sun dipped beneath the horizon of New Earth, casting a kaleidoscope of colors across the sky. This daily spectacle unfurled in the backdrop of John's life, now intertwined with the presence of Aria. Their bond had grown gradually, the lines delineating their worlds blurring with each shared experience. Yet, this cosmic alliance was not without its complexities. Days became weeks, blurred by moments of laughter, tension, and silent understanding. Inside the kaleidoscopic chaos of their life together, John found himself flummoxed by the differences between human and alien customs. One fateful evening, a mishap unfolded in their bathroom, a scene laden with both humor and cultural dissonance. As John stumbled into the space, shock coursed through him. There stood Aria, encased in streams of cascading water, her skin shimmering like polished sapphire under the artificial lights. She examined the showerhead with such curiosity that John's flush of embarrassment quickly transformed into bewilderment. "Whoa, you can't just," he exclaimed, his voice cracking, wide-eyed with surprise. "Why does this water fall from the ceiling?" Aria asked innocently, tilting her head in genuine perplexity. Her gaze pierced through the humor of the moment, reaching deep into John's insecurities. It's complicated," he stammered, feeling the weight of her question hang in the air. This was more than a mere misunderstanding of bathroom etiquette. It unwittingly illuminated the stark differences in their perspectives on sensations, experiences, and even privacy. "Do human emotions truly create complications?" she continued, her deep azure eyes searching his soul, attempting to unravel the enigma of his behavior and the frailty of human nature. John felt raw and exposed, vulnerable under the intensity of her inquiry. This wasn't just a clash of cultures, it was a confrontation with his inner demons, the loneliness he had succumbed to during his years of solitude, now magnified in the presence of this vibrant being. In the following days, the brushstrokes of their partnership revealed both warmth and unease. Aria's insatiable curiosity often plummeted them into discussions that spiraled into realms of understanding and misunderstanding. How could he explain grief to someone who had never felt pain in the same visceral manner? One night, under the soft glow of a low-hanging bioluminescent plant that Aria insisted upon having in their shared space, she had asked, "Is your heart able to mend after it breaks?" The moonlight illuminated her brows, knitted in concern, framing the softness of her features like a celestial sculpture. John sighed, pondering the weight of that question. It can mend, but it takes time. And sometimes, it feels irreparable. He instinctively ran his fingers through his hair, a habit born of years spent grappling internally with despair. As each moment unfurled, they fell deeper into conversations that mirrored a film reel flipping through a montage of their lives. While Aria's perspective brimmed with wonder, unburdened by the weight of human existence, John's experience was deeply tethered to sorrow. He had amassed stories of loss and hardship, chiseled into his essence over decades. It was within these contrasts that their relationship danced precariously along the edge of acceptance and uncertainty. One morning, as they prepared breakfast together, a blend of alien fruits juxtaposed against traditional human fare, Aria reached for the synthetic syrup, her naivety leading her to drench the Macadian custard with an exuberance that made John chuckle. "You're treating it as if it's an elixir for life," he teased, struggling to suppress laughter at the absurdity of their breakfast spread. "Maybe it is," Aria replied with a laugh, her voice ringing melodically in the sunlit kitchen. But within that joyous moment, a shadow crept into John's heart. He couldn't shake the pervasive fear that their growing bond would eventually be challenged by an inherent inevitability. What would happen when the world outside their sanctuary of acceptance and warmth turned cold? The cosmic balance shifted as news stirred among the interstellar communities, whispers of gathering tension regarding the human-alien relationships that had begun to flourish against the backdrop of intergalactic laws. Anxiety seeped into the fabric of their union, each moment tinged with the impending doom of scrutiny. John feared living in a golden bubble, perched on the precipice of inevitable disintegration. Amidst this turmoil, another incident unfolded that would mark an indelible shift in their dynamic. One afternoon, during a routine trip to the Central Park of New Earth, John and Aria encountered the vibrancy of microbial art that sprawled across several domed structures. The artistic display was a manifestation of energy and pulsating life, a cultural fusion celebrating the melding of races and backgrounds. Aria, utterly entranced, began to dance amidst the encapsulating installations, her movements fluid and unburdened, as if she had been forged from the very essence of the kaleidoscopic art itself. John's heart swelled with appreciation watching her revel in joy. However, mingled with that elation lay an unsettling recognition, the stark dichotomy between her existence as a being of light and his heavy, laden footsteps. He tried to join her in her uninhibited dance, yet he found himself shackled by the weight of judgmental glares from passers-by. His laughter, once a jubilant echo, faded into the background noise of whispered opinions and stringent norms. "John," Aria called, her giggles like chimes swaying in the breeze, oblivious to the implicit scrutiny surrounding them. "Why do you not join me? Unleash your spirit." He watched her twirl like a comet, her joy igniting the space around them, but his body felt heavy, riddled with doubt. "Some things, they just don't belong in reality," he replied, trying to mask the bitterness seeping into his words. "You seem so free. I wish I could feel that, too." With a profound tilt of her head, her expression softened. "Freedom is a feeling of the heart, is it not? Then perhaps it is you who holds the key to unlocking that cage." Her words had struck a chord deep within him. He understood that this was more than just a fleeting moment scared of external judgments. It was a battle between his humanity and the potential of intertwined destinies. Could love, even one as unconventional as theirs, liberate them both from their internal prisons? Yet, the pivotal question loomed overhead like a dark cloud on the horizon. What would happen when the world intervened? When their cultures collided with immovable laws designed to protect but ultimately entrap? On a particularly starry night, with the universe sprawling before them, John felt the tension coiling tighter around them. Aria clasped his hand, drawing him close as they surveyed the glittering expanse of galaxies. "John," she whispered, her voice a gentle caress. With the lengthening shadows and the vibrant hues of twilight painting the walls of John's modest home, a profound shift lingered in the atmosphere. The discussions shared between John and Aria deepened, revealing uncharted territories of feelings both exhilarating and daunting. Their newfound bond stood at the precipice of something greater, requiring both courage and vulnerability as they straddled the line between friendship and something more. "Do you not fear the pain that love brings?" Aria's inquisitive voice broke the comfortable silence, her head slightly tilted in contemplation. The reflections of the dying sun danced on her luminescent blue skin, casting an ethereal glow that made her appear otherworldly, a living piece of the cosmos. John watched her, captivated. There was a beauty in her sincerity, an openness that made him question his own emotional defenses. He felt a familiar pang of fear in his chest. Love had always been a double-edged sword. "I do, but isn't it worth it?" The words came out more instinctively than he anticipated, laden with truth. His eyes locked onto hers, each trying to understand the other, creating an intimacy that felt electric. As if drawn by an invisible force, their hands brushed together. The sensation was shocking, as though they had touched a live wire, igniting something deep within them. "What is this feeling?" Aria whispered, her voice trembling, a mixture of confusion and wonder lighting up her brilliant eyes. John's heart raced, half exhilarated, half terrified at the implications. Here was an alien, a creature from a galaxy far away, standing before him, awakening feelings he did not acknowledge were present. The moment felt monumental, a collision of worlds and hearts that defied not just societal expectations but the existential questions of their very natures. He wished to bridge the chasms that divided their species, yet felt the weight of judgment press closely, a palpable shadow all too familiar in his life as a human, now made heavier by their intercultural complexities. The air thickened around them, laden with unspoken words. John caught a glimpse of uncertainty flashing across Aria's features, stirring a protective instinct within him. "Aria," he began, his voice steady despite the whirlwind churning inside. "There's something beautiful in what we're exploring. We're not just two beings from different worlds. We're weaving a connection that is unique." Aria's expression softened, the tension easing like the setting sun dipping below the horizon. She leaned slightly closer, her voice barely above a whisper. "But will the others understand? Will they accept what we feel?" The flicker of vulnerability in her gaze momentarily shattered the facade of confidence he wore. "I don't know," he admitted, bracing himself against the tide of doubt. "All I know is that I don't want to lose this. You mean too much to me." At that moment, something transformed between them, the boundaries of their friendship blurring into an uncharted territory that neither could have anticipated. However, the intimacy of their shared gasp was abruptly shattered by the sound of the doorbell ringing, a sharp intrusion into their sacred bubble. John's heart sank as he momentarily looked to Aria, who wore a mask of both curiosity and apprehension. The timing was surely fortuitous, or perhaps, a cruel twist of fate. "Who could that be?" John murmured, dread pooling in his stomach. He approached the door with hesitant footsteps, already sensing the weight of impending disruption lingering in the air. He opened the door to find a stern-looking figure, a woman clad in a crisp uniform adorned with the insignia of the Interplanetary Council, a contrast to the serene beauty of Aria's alien presence. Her sharp gaze sliced through the tension like a blade. "I am Inspector Lyra," she announced, her voice authoritative. "I need to evaluate your living situation and ensure compliance with intergalactic regulations." "Inspector Lyra?" John's voice trailed off, his mind racing to mask the tumult of their shared moment just moments before. "Come in, please." Entering the small dwelling, Lyra's gaze fell upon Aria with piercing intensity. "State your purpose here," she commanded, a notepad coming to life in her hands as she jotted down notes. "I'm here to assist John," Aria replied, glancing at John for support, her expression shifting from curiosity to unease. "I'm not just an employee, I've become a friend." Inspector Lyra leveled her gaze at John. "Friendships are irrelevant. You must explain the nature of your relationship with this alien," her tone terse and unyielding. John felt an undeniable urge to defend their bond. "Aria is more than what the law may categorize her as. We share," he faltered, the weight of the implications crashing down on him as he struggled to articulate the depths of their connection. "We share an understanding, an emotional connection that transcends species." "Emotional connections can lead to dangerous entanglements," Lyra stated flatly, the air thick with tension. "You both risk destabilizing the cultural balance established between our worlds. What about our personal truths?" John retorted, anger burning in his chest. "Isn't the essence of existence about connection? Isn't the pursuit of love worth fighting for, no matter the origin?" Aria stood beside him, her presence a silent strength bolstering his resolve. "If our happiness threatens your order, then maybe your order needs to be questioned," she added, her voice steadier than she felt, the glow of defiance flickering in her eyes. Inspector Lyra remained unmoved, her expression stoic as she considered their declarations, scribbling notes with sharp, penetrating strokes. "You are playing with fire. Love can warp the will of a society. It is not a simple matter of personal inclination. There are consequences. But what if we don't want to hide? John's determination to protect their burgeoning relationship fueled his words. What if this, what we have, is meant to exist in the open? Can there not be spaces where we coexist without fear? Lyra's expression softened ever so slightly, though her posture remained resolute. Love is a powerful force, and you both must understand what you are risking. In that moment, the reality of their situation became glaringly clear. Inspector Lyra controlled the narrative of their future, and yet as she prepared to impose her judgments, John and Aria stood united, a fragile yet unyielding alliance fighting against an oppressive societal structure. Thank you for your input, Lyra finally said, her voice clipped. I will deliberate on the information you've provided, but expect an evaluation meeting soon to reassess your circumstances. Maintain order, or you will pay the price. As she exited, the feeling of dread clung to John like smoke after a fire. The door clicked shut behind her, leaving an echo of uncertainty in its wake. The peace of their newfound relationship shattered like glass when a stern inspector from the Interplanetary Council announced his impending visit. The air in John Hawthorne's modest abode thickened with anxiety, as if the very fabric of reality held its breath in anticipation. Shadows danced in the corners of the room, mirroring the turmoil within John's heart. He felt the walls closing in, a palpable tension palpating through the atmosphere. The remnants of his isolation clawed at him, whispering doubts and fears. John, what if they decide I do not belong here? Aria's voice quivered, betraying an uncertainty that starkly contrasted her usually radiant demeanor. Her deep blue skin shifted, pale under the fluorescent lights, as she tucked a lock of shimmering hair behind her ear, betraying a vulnerability that John found both heart-wrenching and endearing. They can't take this from us. Just be honest, we need to show them that we are real, John reassured her, his voice steadier than he felt inside. He tried to inject confidence into their situation as he paced the room, each step echoing doubt in the silence surrounding them. The vivid colors of Aria's attire contrasted sharply against the sterile aesthetics of his home, reflecting their diverse worlds and the chasm that separated them. With every passing moment, John's anxiety amplified like the distant thunder of a storm brewing on the horizon. The echo of Aria's questions lingered in his mind, threading together memories of their shared laughter, their evolving companionship, and the delicate emotions that flourished between them. He couldn't shake the idea that this interplanetary inspection would not just evaluate their living situation. It threatened to dissect the very essence of their bond. When Inspector Lyra arrived, her entrance felt like a gust of cold wind sweeping through the room. Clad in a sleek, silver uniform that shimmered like the scales of an alien creature under a merely lit sun, Lyra exuded an air of authority that was immediately palpable. Her presence was powerful, akin to a black hole, one that demanded attention yet threatened to consume anything that dared to draw too close. Her dark hair was slicked back, framing a face marked by determination and skepticism. The contours of her sharp jawline hints at a life immersed in the harsh realities of intergalactic politics. Explain your living arrangement, she commanded, her piercing gaze feeling like a spotlight on John and Aria's tenuous bond. There were no pleasantries, no acknowledgement of their emotional attachment, only the cold mechanics of regulation and enforcement. Swallowing hard, John felt his heart race. Aria is not just my employee, she is my friend, and more, he declared, desperation mixing with an ad hoc courage that surged through him. Aria's eyes shone bright with pride even as fear flickered beneath the surface. Standing together against the formidable authority, they shaped a unified front, two beings from divergent worlds entangled in a narrative greater than themselves. I see, Lyra responded, a slight arch of her brow signaling disbelief. Your unconventional bond risks destabilizing both our societies. Such connections may lead to cultural dilution, and history shows it can breed contempt. Her voice was devoid of warmth, each syllable carefully measured and methodical. John recognized the weight of her words. Flashes of humanity's past echoed in his mind, moments when fear of the unknown had led to destruction rather than understanding. But love transcends these societal norms. It challenges us to break barriers, he pleaded, the passion in his voice rising like a crescendo. Within him roared the undeniable truth he had come to learn. Connections, quite possibly, were the surges of hope needed to unite cultures, not to tear them apart. Passionate words, Lyra replied coldly, her eyes boring into him. Yet history has taught me that passion can incite chaos just as easily as it breeds harmony. She turned her attention to Aria, her expression none too different from that of a vet inspecting a new specimen. What say you, Aria? Can this bond truly withstand the scrutiny of both your peoples? Silence enveloped them as Aria took a steadying breath, forcing her mind to align with her heart. Inspector, my feelings for John are real. Your regulations cannot dictate the nature of our relationship. Though I hail from a distant world, I am learning to understand, to love, and to share in the tapestry of human emotion. Subtle admiration flickered in Lyra's eyes, but it vanished almost instantly, hardened by an unwavering resolve. Nevertheless, feelings are not enough. This council values order above all else. Rules ensure our civilizations thrive. I will require documentation of your agreements. This bond must be formalized or face severe repercussions. The demand hung in the air like fog cloaking a forest at dawn, obscuring their sense of freedom and pushing the limits of their shared experience. John exchanged a glance with Aria, searching for unspoken guidance as the sands of time slipped through their fingers. Would their shared experiences, every late-night conversation, every tender touch, be reduced to bureaucratic procedures and sterile documentation? The thought felt like a blade against his heart. A chill ran through John as he realized that this was not solely an assessment of their home or their love. It was a broader examination of what it meant to bridge galaxies in a universe that thrived on cultural divergence. Do you understand the ramifications of your feelings? Lyra's tone shifted slightly, the double-edged sword of curiosity mingled with authority. You may be revered as pioneers, or become scapegoats for collective failure. John felt Aria's hand squeeze his tightly, an anchor in the deafening storm of uncertainty. For a fleeting moment, they were enveloped by an electric spark, a reminder of why they fought against the odds, and it fortified their resolve. I will bear the weight of our choices, he said, the determination surging through him, a vow forged in the crucible of resistance. As the tense conversation continued, the shadows in the room flickered as if participating in a drama far beyond comprehension. The whispered doubts danced in the periphery, taunting John with questions of the ethical implications of their bond. Could love between different worlds truly be free? Was sacrifice a necessary component of unity? The line between moral obligation and personal desire blurred before his eyes, holding him captive in the complexity of intergalactic dynamics. Lyra ultimately nodded, completing her notes, the scratch of her pen echoing ominously against the stark silence. You may have conditional approval to continue your relationship, but it must undergo periodic review. Comply with our regulations, and perhaps this sector can witness the birth of a new understanding. A sigh burst forth from John, a mix of relief and apprehension. On one hand, they had defied the odds and secured a chance. On the other, the specter of scrutiny loomed larger than ever. The climactic meeting hung in the air like an electric storm, filled with tension and unyielding resolve. Inspector Lyra sat like a judge, her sharp gaze slicing through the palpable atmosphere, dissecting the emotions swirling between John and Aria. Your unconventional bond risks destabilizing both our societies, she announced, her voice steady but laced with a hint of curiosity. We understand the risks, but you must see that love is not bound by borders or species, John replied, his heart racing, words spilling with urgency. Aria and I have transcended protocol. We've discovered something profound. His voice trembled as he continued. It's more than just our connection. It's about the understanding and empathy we've built. Love is evolution, evolving both our races into something stronger. Aria's skin shimmered, vessels of sapphire lights pulsating softly as she stood beside him. In my culture, we celebrate connections. The union of souls, regardless of their origins, strengthens our identity. We are not threats but allies, willing to illuminate the darkness with shared experiences, she added, her deep blue eyes locking onto Lyra's, searching for understanding. The inspector's fingers drummed against her tablet, the rhythm echoing in the heavy silence. It betrayed the inner conflict lurking behind her stern facade. Her lips thinned as she considered their words, the delicate balance between duty and humanity weighing heavily upon her. After what felt like an eternity, she finally spoke, your bond must undergo review every quarter cycle. If you can illustrate that your relationship fosters goodwill and cooperation between our peoples, you might just chart a new course for the future. When Lyra's stance softened, relief washed over them like a cascading wave. We did it, Aria exclaimed, tears shimmering in her eyes, reflecting the brilliant lights of the council chamber. Together, John replied, grasping her hands tightly, the warmth of her skin grounding him in the moment. They shared a knowing gaze, a silent agreement that echoed beyond the constraints of language and law. As they navigated the intricacies of their worlds, new challenges loomed ahead on the horizon. They faced societal opposition, whispers and doubts echoing through the corridors of both their communities. Supporters filled with curiosity emerged alongside skeptics burdened by prejudice. Do you really think they'll accept us? Aria pondered later that night, her voice a mere whisper in the dimly lit room filled with trinkets of both their cultures. Acceptance is a journey, not a destination. We will carve our path with each stride we take, John assured her, the confidence in his own voice surprising yet invigorating. Change starts with us, showing everyone that, despite our differences, we still share a common humanity. They began holding gatherings, mixing human customs with Aria's alien rituals. Laughter mingled with the pulse of music from Aria's home world, the notes soaring and dipping, as the participants, both alien and human, danced together, celebrating their differences rather than hiding them. Their gatherings became a beacon, bridging the gap between species, dissolving assumptions within the bubbling energy of companionship. However, whispers began to ripple through the ranks of the Interplanetary Council, the conversation taking a darker turn. You're risking everything, an old friend of John's warned, pulling him aside at one such gathering. You're not just challenging the status quo. You're endangering the very societal norms that keep us safe. They're watching you closely. I can't just sit back and let fear dictate our lives, John replied, fire igniting in his veins. Aria has shown me the beauty in the unknown. Why should I deny our truth for comfort's sake? As weeks passed, John and Aria continued to fight for their newfound existence, their devotion intertwining with the trials ahead, pushing them towards something undeniable. But the pressure mounted as public scrutiny sharpened, never allowing them to rest, each meeting with Inspector Lyra weighed down by expectations. Remember, evidence of goodwill must be tangible, Lyra emphasized during their quarterly review. You cannot just say the words, you need to show them. Determination fueled John's resolve as they delved deeper into the complexities of both cultures. Together, they implemented community projects aimed at fostering interspecies understanding, sharing food, stories, and art. Amidst it all, they found solace in quiet moments under the stars, floating in a sea of endless night. What if they never really accept us? Aria questioned softly one evening, her voice barely a breath against the whir of celestial winds. Then we create our own acceptance, John replied, wrapping his arm around her shoulder, drawing her close. In a universe so vast, we can find our own space to thrive. In those conversations, the shadows of doubt melted, forming the bedrock of their courage. John's belief sparked passion within Aria, illuminating her fears with the clarity of hope. The possibility of a future together began to paint their vision with vibrant hues, each stroke of uncertainty countered by unwavering resolve. Days turned into months, and the weight of their efforts began to unveil the first blooms of acceptance. Recognition flickered in Lyra's eyes as she began to witness their commitment. "You've created a revolution of thought," she remarked at their final review, her hands clasped on the table before her. But just as opportunity emerged, so did obstacles. John received news of dissent rising among his peers, venting their frustrations in the form of protests. "You need to choose, John," an advocate warned him during a tense briefing. "Your reputation is on the line. Stand with us, or you risk becoming an outcast." "An outcast?" John echoed, disbelief mingling through his words. "I'll stand with those who believe in love and understanding, not hate and division." With Aria by his side, they confronted the tide of dissent as ambassadors of change, their bond entwined in the very fabric of their efforts. Their narratives spread, igniting fires in the hearts of those who dared to believe. But just as hope seemed to be within reach, a shocking turn of events destabilized their fragile balance. A violent faction emerged from the depths, rallying against their union in a fierce bid to preserve the old ways. While John struggled to unify his community, Aria faced isolation among her own. A fateful night culminated in chaos, as Aria was cornered by a group who issued threats, forcing her to confront the depths of fear within her spirited heart. In the swirling darkness that enveloped them, John raced against time, determined to shield her from harm. "Stay back," he called, voice booming above the clamor like a war drum. "You will not take her. You will not extinguish our light with your darkness." Aria caught John's fierce gaze amidst the turmoil, bolstered by his unyielding stance. "They will learn," she said softly, but firmly. "They will one day understand." However, the conflict strained their bond, threatening to unravel the delicate threads they had woven together. In the aftermath, wounded and bruised, physically and emotionally, John and Aria were left gasping for clarity as the dust settled around them. In private, they confronted the tumult of mixed emotions, the fear of loss gnawing at their hearts. "Did we push too far?" John whispered, the vulnerability in his eyes cutting Aria deeper than any blade. "No," Aria replied, her voice steadier than she felt. "We must persist. Our love is our strength, and we will bleed for it if we have to." Holding tightly to each other's warmth, they vowed to face the future, no matter how perilous. The beauty of their connection had been forged in the fires of trials, and it would be the beacon leading them onward through adversity. As they continued to navigate the turbulent waters of societal change, they understood their bond had become a powerful catalyst, creating ripples of acceptance across galaxies. The realization sunk deep: true love does not merely exist, it transforms. Their journey ahead remained uncertain, yet John and Aria stepped forward hand in hand, ready to embrace the unknown that awaited them. The universe lay sprawling before them, full of endless possibilities, ready to unveil secrets waiting to be discovered. The final meeting with Lyra set the tone. "This will be your final assessment," she decreed. "Your next steps must reflect growth, not just in your bond but in fostering understanding throughout our worlds." "In unity, there's strength," John affirmed, his heart swelling with hope. Let us be the change we wish to see. Hand in hand, we pave our way. As they walked away from the council chambers, an inexplicable peace settled over them. Together, they had not only navigated the treacherous waters of societal norms, but had become something greater than mere colleagues united by love. They had formed an alliance that could rewrite the very fabric of their societies. Their path was fraught with uncertainty, but in the vastness of the cosmos, they embraced the journey ahead. Both uncharted and radiant, their love would serve as a testament to the notion that true connections could transcend boundaries and inspire hearts across galaxies. And as they looked up to the glimmering sky, a sense of wonder rippled through them. The swirling galaxies promised both discovery and tribulation, yet amidst it all, there emerged a profound certainty. The future they crafted was in their hands, and their love could illuminate the spaces in between. In that moment, the stars aligned, casting a glow upon the lovers standing at the precipice of the cosmos, ready to challenge not only societal norms but to inspire a new generations to come, to embrace, empower, and transform. But the true depth of their journey had yet to unfold, shrouded in mysteries that would beckon them into a realm unknown, where every heartbeat would guide them deeper into the expanse of their evolving relationship, forever intertwined, like the stars above. And in this dance of possibilities, the universe held its breath, waiting to see what they would uncover together. The beauty of connection, beyond time, beyond the stars, remained a mystery, one that Alara and John were destined to unravel across the boundless realms of space. If you liked this story based on real events, subscribe to our channel and don't forget to like it. Here you can dive into a different reality every day, where anything can happen. Comment below what kind of story you would like to hear here. Thank you very much for your attention. We are the Sci-Fi family.